I always loved camping. The fresh air, the starry sky, the crackling fire. It was a perfect way to escape the stress of the city and reconnect with nature. That's why I didn't hesitate when my friend invited me to join him and his girlfriend for a weekend trip in the woods. He said he knew a great spot by a lake where we could set up our tents and enjoy the peace and quiet. We arrived at the campsite on Friday evening, just before sunset. We quickly unpacked our gear and pitched our tents. My friend and his girlfriend shared one, and I had the other one to myself. We gathered some firewood and lit a fire, then roasted some marshmallows and told stories. It was a fun night, and I felt relaxed and happy. The next day, we decided to explore the area. We followed a trail that led us to the lake, where we saw a small wooden dock. We walked over to it and saw a rowboat tied to it. My friend suggested that we take it for a spin, and his girlfriend agreed. I was a bit hesitant, as I didn't know how to row, but they assured me it was easy and fun. They got in the boat and helped me in, then handed me an oar. They showed me how to move it back and forth, and soon we were gliding across the water. The lake was beautiful, surrounded by tall trees and green hills. We saw some ducks and fish and heard some birds singing. We rowed for a while, then stopped in the middle of the lake and just enjoyed the view. It was so peaceful and serene. I felt like I was in a dream. Suddenly, I heard a loud splash behind me. I turned around and saw something huge and dark emerge from the water. It looked like a giant snake with scales and fangs and glowing red eyes. It hissed and lunged at me, wrapping its coils around me and dragging me under. I screamed and struggled, but it was too strong. I felt its teeth sink into my flesh, and blood gushed out of my wounds. I saw my friend and his girlfriend staring at me in horror, frozen in shock. They didn't move or try to help me. They just watched as I was devoured by the monster. The last thing I saw was its face, inches from mine, as it swallowed me whole. Then everything went black. As I faded into oblivion, I heard a voice in my head. It was deep and raspy, and it spoke in a language I didn't understand. It sounded like it was chanting something, over and over again. I felt a surge of pain and fear, and then a strange sensation of being pulled back to life. I opened my eyes and gasped for air. I tripped and fell, and I felt its claws on my back. It flipped me over and looked into my eyes. It snarled and opened its mouth, and I saw its fangs. This is the end of my story. This is the end of my life. I had always wanted to buy a house of my own. I had saved up enough money to afford a decent place in the suburbs. I had searched online for listings and found one that seemed perfect. It was a spacious two-story house with a nice garden and a garage. It was located in a quiet and safe neighborhood. It was also surprisingly cheap, considering its size and condition. I contacted the seller and arranged a meeting. He was an old man who looked tired and nervous. He told me that he was selling the house because he was moving to another state to live with his daughter. He said that he had lived in the house for over 40 years and that he had taken good care of it. He said that the house had no problems and that it was ready to move in. I asked him why the house was so cheap. He hesitated for a moment, then said that it was because the house had a history. He said that the house was built in the late 1800s and that it had been the site of several murders and suicides over the years. He said that some people believed that the house was haunted by the spirits of the dead and that they had experienced strange noises, cold spots, and apparitions in the house. He said that he had never seen or heard anything himself and that he didn't believe in ghosts. He said that he was selling the house at a low price because he wanted to get rid of it quickly and that he didn't care about the rumors. I was skeptical about his story, but I was also intrigued. I had always been interested in the paranormal, and I thought that living in a haunted house would be exciting. I decided to buy the house despite the warnings. I signed the papers and got the keys. The old man wished me good luck and left. I moved into the house the next day. I unpacked my belongings and settled in. I felt happy and proud of my new home. I didn't notice anything unusual or creepy about the house. It seemed normal and cozy to me. The The first night I went to bed early. I was tired from the moving and wanted to rest. I fell asleep as soon as I hit the pillow. I had a peaceful and pleasant dream. I woke up in the middle of the night. I felt a cold breeze on my face. I opened my eyes and saw a figure standing over me. It was a woman, dressed in a white nightgown. She had long black hair and pale skin. She had no eyes, only dark holes where they should be. She had a wide, bloody smile on her face. She was holding a knife in her hand. She leaned down and whispered in my ear. "Welcome to your new home," she said, before stabbing me in the chest. I decided to buy the house despite the warnings. I signed the papers and got the keys. The old man wished me good luck and left. I moved into the house the next day. I unpacked my belongings and settled in. I felt happy and proud of my new home. I didn't notice anything unusual or creepy about the house. It seemed normal and cozy to me. The first night I went to bed early. I was tired from the moving and wanted to rest. I fell asleep as soon as I hit the pillow. I had a peaceful and pleasant dream. I woke up in the middle of the night. I felt a cold breeze on my face. I opened my eyes and saw a figure standing over me. It was a woman dressed in a white nightgown. She had long black hair and pale skin. She had no eyes, only dark holes where they should be. She had a wide, bloody smile on her face. She was holding a knife in her hand. She leaned down and whispered in my ear. "Welcome to your new home," she said, before stabbing me in the chest. It was supposed to be a romantic getaway for Jake and Lisa, a young couple who wanted to escape the city and enjoy nature. They had rented a tent and a camping site at the edge of a forest near a lake. They had heard rumors that the place was haunted, but they didn't believe in such things. They thought it would be fun to explore the area and maybe find some old relics or ruins. They arrived at the camping site in the afternoon and set up their tent. They decided to go for a walk around the lake and see if they could spot any wildlife. They saw some birds, squirrels, and rabbits, but nothing too exciting. They were about to head back to their tent when they heard a strange sound coming from the other side of the lake. It sounded like a horse, but not a normal one. It was a high-pitched metallic whinny that made their ears hurt. They looked across the water and saw a dark shape moving among the trees. It was hard to make out, but it looked like a horse with a long mane and tail. But there was something wrong with it. It had no eyes, no mouth, no nose. Its head was just a smooth, black sphere. And it was spinning. It was spinning so fast that it created a whirlwind around it that lifted leaves and branches into the air. Jake and Lisa felt a chill run down their spines. They had never seen anything like that before. They wondered what it was and where it came from. They wondered if it had seen them and if it was coming for them. They decided to run back to their tent and pack their things. They wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. They ran as fast as they could, but the spinning horse was faster. It had sensed their presence and it was curious. It wanted to know what they were and what they tasted like. It followed them across the lake, cutting through the water like a torpedo. It reached the shore and galloped towards them, leaving a trail of dust and debris behind it. Jake and Lisa reached their tent and grabbed their backpacks. They didn't have time to take anything else. They tried to get into their car, but the spinning horse was already there. It blocked their way and stared at them with its blank black face. It tilted its head and made a loud screeching noise. It was a warning. It was telling them to stay away from its territory. Jake and Lisa were terrified. They had no idea what to do. They couldn't fight it. They couldn't outrun it. They couldn't reason with it. They were trapped.